Hey everyone, good evening. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Cabs.
Okay, great. By the way, I think my connection is pretty bad because it's raining so hard here. So if I am not, so clear, just let me know, Len, if you may. So, okay, so we'll just wait for one more minute for the rest to join. Maybe there are a few more who would like to catch up. So, how's everyone doing so far? How are you guys?
We're good, just get out of work.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's Shen, right?
Yeah, it's my second session. I'm working from home. I set my alarm and I saw it's our session 8:30 every Wednesday.
I see. We're happy to have you here. Ah, that's awesome. We also work from home, Len and I think a few of the folks here. So,
Yeah, it's safer.
right, right. Okay, so I guess we can start. Let's just see. Uh, all right, so welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Kevin, and this is member-supported Pure Land Buddhism Group of the Philippines. I have here with me my friend Len. Len, do you want to say something to the group, or do you want to say hi? Or I think Len is probably the connection. Okay, so guys, if I'm not,
Hi, everyone.
oh, sorry,
Just say hi. I just want to say hi. I think my connection is pretty bad too. Sorry.
that's okay, Len. Thank you, Len.
I'm
Yeah,
having connection issues.
yeah, me too. It's raining so hard across the Philippines. But yeah, if I'm not um, clear enough, just ping me on Zoom or Skype, and I'd appreciate that. So we're gonna start now. It's another Wednesday, which means it's another self improvement talk. Okay, so this is again member supported Pure Land Buddhism Center of the Philippines, and we're so happy that you're here. The stories that we're gonna read is actually based on this book. It's something you forgot along the way. I highly recommend that you grab a copy of this. I think the office is sending a few copies. I'm not sure, but feel free to reach out, and I'm gonna ask Frank or Len if we do shipments. And I would need at least two volunteers to read our story today. Does anyone want to read? There are two pages here. Who wants to start first?
May I?
Yes, sure. Go ahead, Marian.
Okay. The Lesson of the Red Camellia. One night, a man in the prime of life got up to go to the bathroom. On the way, he spat into the garden. To his horror, his sputum was bright red, a telltale sign of tuberculosis. His legs turned to jelly and he sank to the floor. When the man didn't come back to bed, his wife grew concerned and went looking for him. She laid a hand on his forehead and found he had a raging fever. The household was soon in uproar, and they sent for a doctor. Meanwhile, the man told his wife what had happened, and she went out to the garden to see for herself. She discovered that he'd spat onto the fallen petal of a scarlet camellia.
Thank you so much, Marian.
Yep.
And for the next page, who wants to read? Anyone?
Let me do it.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Shan.
Um, when she told him this, his fever magically disappeared, and the next morning he set off to work as usual. If he hadn't found out the truth, he couldn't have himself truly sick. There is no need to live in fear of what may come. Change is only natural. The earth itself has day and night. The moon waxes and wanes in the sky. The ocean has its tides and high tide and low. In our lives too, we experience both fat and lean. When you are at low point, just wait, for this too shall pass. When you are at a rock bottom, you are undergoing a test. Think of it as Buddha's way of training you so that in time he can give you something better than you've ever known. A hot house flower does not smell so sweet as one exposed to wind and cold. Rain and sunshine are equally good. Anyone who can't appreciate this is a little substance. It is essential to open the eyes of the soul.
All right. Thank you, Shan. Thank you, Marian. Thanks for reading. Okay, so we're gonna go over and I'm gonna show you a quick summary of the story, okay? So there's this man, there's this man who is at the prime of his life. Now, how do you define someone who is at the prime? I think around if the man is around 25 to 30 years old, it's considered prime, but it's actually subjective. You could be at your prime at 40 or 50. It depends on the person, but generally it's around that age bracket, 20 to 30. So there was this man. He went up one evening to go to the bathroom. Okay. When he went to the bathroom, he spat into the garden and he was surprised, to his horror, his sputum, or call it the phlegm, was bright red, like this moon here. So red, okay? So it's a telltale sign of tuberculosis, because with the kind of disease, blood accumulates in the lungs. So he thought, oh no, I have tuberculosis. So he was really worried. His legs turned to jelly and he sank to the floor, thinking, I have tuberculosis. This is it, because my sputum is red, my phlegm is red. I have tuberculosis. So he convinced himself that he has tuberculosis. All right. So the man didn't go back to bed. He was so concerned. He was so worried, you know. And then his wife went to him and found out that he had a raging fever. You could just imagine. He thought he had tuberculosis, and right there and then, he now has fever. He is now manifesting the symptoms, right? So they were really concerned. They even went to seek for a doctor to go visit visit the house. But eventually, the husband told his wife what really happened. He told him that when I woke up, I just spat on the garden. So the wife now tried to investigate. You know, the wife went to the garden. Imagine that's the garden you see, and she discovered that he had spat on a fallen petal of a scarlet camellia. Now, I don't know if this appears red to you. It's kind of pink on my end, but imagine it's even red than this. So he had spat on a petal of this flower. This is a camellia, right? So he thought that he had tuberculosis. But in the first place, he was perfectly healthy. It was just his mind. He thought he had the disease. That's why he felt bad and he got worried. He was so anxious and he even manifested fever, right? So when the wife told him about this, about the investigation, about the realization, his fever magically disappeared. And the next morning, he was okay. He was doing fine. And he set off for work as usual. Now, if he hadn't found out the truth, if his wife didn't go out and investigate, he could have made himself truly sick. Imagine it was just for a day. Imagine if the thinking lasted for how many days, it could have been worse, right? So that's a quick summary about the story. Let me just, okay, there. So is everything good so far? Any questions or comments? Let me check Skype. Okay, if there's none, then let's proceed. I want to make sure I still have you guys on the line and then we're not disconnected or something. So I think we're good. All right. So I have gathered some tweets earlier. I was searching on Twitter. Awesome, great, thank you, Marian. I was searching on Twitter, and have you guys experienced this before? You thought you were sick, and you just assumed you were sick. Have you guys done this? Because I saw some tweets earlier. Let me show you. Um, okay. Is it okay if I ask someone to read this for me? Let's just read at least three or two. Is someone available to read this? If not, I could try to read. But if someone would volunteer, that's fine. Okay. Okay. So the first tweet says something similar happened to me. I saw my lips turning blue, and when I went on WebDM, by the way, WebDM is a website. It's a famous website for diseases. It said that I was about to have a heart attack because of oxygen deprivation. And when I was on my way to the hospital, I remembered that earlier that day I had a blue popsicle. So this person thought he has he was about to have a heart attack, but he was just um, popping on blue popsicle. So that's number one. And we have another one here. Um, let's see. I think this one's better. Okay, so this one is, it says, I had a complete panic on the newborn maternity ward in the hospital, frantically pressing the emergency button to summon the nurses because my baby had turned blue. It turns out that it was just my blue dressing gown reflecting on her face. She has survived my appalling mothering and is now 26. So this is also kind of funny as well because she thought her baby had turned blue, but it was just the dressing gown reflecting on it. So these are a few examples, tweets from actual people who had thought that the situation is bad, but the truth is it's not, you know, because they found out the truth. So if they weren't able to investigate, it would have been bad, right? So so the truth is something that sometimes we tend to escape from. You know, when let's say for example we have this something we need to face, like a major problem at work, or maybe you messed up at work big time, and you don't want to face it because you want to avoid the humiliation from your coworkers, from your boss. So you want to avoid it. You want to just, not show at work anymore because it's too painful to face the truth. But eventually we need to face it because it will just grow bigger, and it would be better to face the truth right here and then at face value, right? And there is no need to live in fear of what may come. Change is only natural, right? The earth itself has day and night, as we all know. So it's not always morning, it's not always evening, it's always this pattern, of day and night. Let's see, Skype. Yeah, Sandy says feeling sick is not brave enough to face them. Yeah, sometimes, um, actually, I want to share something. Now, this happened to me before. I thought I had like a disease on, because I had some rashes, before when I eat lots of crabs or any uh, seafoods, I instantly get rashes. So I kind of assumed that, and then my urine smells so sweet sometimes. So I kind of assumed that it could be diabetes. And so for many years, I kind of avoided that. I was afraid to go to the doctor. I was afraid to be diagnosed with diabetes. But eventually I had to face it because if I won't, then I will not be given the medication that I have to take, and it will get worse. So at the end of the day, we need to face it. Some people, and you might be one of them, I'm one of them, are afraid to know are the truth, but we have to face the truth, right? Okay. And then the moon waxes and wanes in the sky. So who loves to watch the moon? I mean, I like to watch the moon at all phases. No matter what the face is, it's really amazing to look at the sky. And it changes, right? You'll be amazed. Oh, after a few days, it looks different. And then, the next day it's different. And it's just amazing. It's the same with the ocean. The ocean has its high tides and low tides, right? So it's the same with our lives. We need to understand that the present determines the future. Okay? So if we focus on the future, we become so anxious in the present. The future becomes bad, then because we stop taking action, doing the good things. So when we overthink on situations, on the problems we have, we always like to think about the future, right? And we become anxious. We think, oh, um, what's gonna happen in the future because I don't have enough of this, because we have a problem, because I'm sick. It kind of paralyzes us. It stops us in the present. And when we stop in the present, when we don't do anything, the future becomes even worse because we're not doing anything. We get paralyzed. So, what do you think we should do if we feel anxious? And I know this is not easy for everyone. This takes like practice and baby steps. But what we need to do is to take action. Even the smallest steps, we need, even the smallest action matters. It doesn't have to be big steps. Even small steps have an impact. So as soon as we take action, our future now instantly becomes brighter, as long as the seeds we plant are good, right? So if we are faced with a problem, and right now, everyone can relate, especially in the early phases of COVID-19, everyone was so stressed, about their finances. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people are just uncertain about the future, right? They were afraid. They were afraid of going out. They were afraid of what's going to happen because most people are not used to just staying at home. So some people unfortunately felt paralyzed, and I am one of those people, persons. Before when it started, I felt like I was stuck, you know. But if we experience something similar, um, like problems in life or anything that bothers you at all, instead of becoming paralyzed, take action. Because when you take action, when you plant the good seeds right here, right now, in the present moment, then our future becomes brighter. Okay? So, positive action alleviates anxiety. Do you agree? Do you guys agree with this statement? Yes, it's true, right? Because when you take action, it will now, let's see, Skype. Yes, awesome. Yes. And I know this is, like, what do you call this? This is easier said than done, you know, but we need to remind ourselves about this. If a problem arises, if we feel stuck, rather than feeling paralyzed, rather than overthinking, take an action. No matter how small it is, take action. It alleviates our anxiety. It makes the future brighter. Because going back to the law of cause and effect as a review, um, good deeds bring good results. Bad deeds bring bad results. Your own deeds bring your own results. So no matter how small it is, as long as it's a good deed, as long as it's you're planting good seeds, then definitely at some point in the future your efforts will pay off. You will harvest the good fruits. Are we good so far? Is there any questions or comments? Feel free to post on Skype if you have any suggestions, comments. So let's continue. When you are at a low point, just wait, for this too shall pass. And I think everyone here can relate with the low point. It's something that is subjective, unique from person to person. But this is not a good place to be, right? It's just, oh no, it's a very depressing point. However, it will pass. This too shall pass. So don't be paralyzed in fear. Be flexible. It is important to be flexible in life. Don't get paralyzed, because life is always changing. Life is impermanent. So the more our minds are flexible, the happier we will be as we grow older. Everything passes, Even this COVID-19 pandemic will pass and it will be a distant memory for sure, you know. So it will be gone. It will be just, something you will see on a meme on Facebook or on Twitter someday. I think there are already memes about COVID-19 right now, but in the future, it will just be a distant memory. It will just be on a newspaper or an online article, you know? So when you are at rock bottom and oh no, this is like a place where it's so terrible, right? You are undergoing a test. Think of it as Buddha's way of training you so that in time, um, He can give you something better than you have ever known. Okay? So, a hothouse flower does not smell so sweet as one exposed to cold and wind. Do you guys know what a hothouse flower is? I actually googled this earlier, but a hothouse flower, this is a type of flower, a species of flower that's so rare. You know, Th- they only survive on on warm weather climates. So a lot of people, especially in colder climates, they collect these flowers, and then they store the flowers in somewhat um, a greenhouse, a place, but it's different from hothouse. A hothouse is an even more expensive setup. So if a greenhouse is expensive, a hothouse is times five expensive because you're gonna need to make it appear warm like in the summer, when it's winter actually on the outside. So it's a place where these flowers are kept blooming and fresh. And like right now in the Philippines, a lot of people, a lot of titas, aunties, are into collecting plants, right? Are you guys into plant collections right now? Yeah, I think, Len, are you collecting plants right now, or maybe it's a different person is on Facebook?
Um, oh, not much. We have plants, but it was collected over the years, not just now, but
Oh,
more like fruit bearing or vegetable stuff. We're more into that. Yeah.
I see, I see. Yeah,
Mm.
amazing. Yeah, because these plants, these flowers, the more rare they are, because I read a post on Facebook. Some of them would go to the mountains, to get these plants. The rarer they are, the more expensive, of course. So it's like this hothouse flower. Let me just check Skype real quick. Oh, amazing, amazing, Marian. So you're collecting plants. Amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am planning to put the plant in my room so it will be, fresh inside. But yeah, that's amazing. Let's see. Oh, and as well. Wow. Are you guys selling plants or just collecting them? Because, it's kind of amazing to see, you know, it's helping the community, it's helping us in the Philippines. Just collecting, okay? Len says someone just gave me a lot of sunflower seeds. Just sowed them days ago. Oh, take a photo if they start to, grow and blossom. Len, would love to see. Then you can share on Skype if you like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I hope they grow. They say it grows higher than a person, so I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anne says, I only started planting this lockdown period. Wow, that's nice. Ivan says, I'm trying to grow a Sansevieria right now. Wow, that sounds exotic, I can't pronounce it even right. Sansevieria, that's nice. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a hothouse flower. You can say that it's a high maintenance flower because it has to have this environment where it's like summer, so it's a flower that is so delicate, right? So it says here, a hothouse flower does not smell so sweet as one exposed to wind and cold. So it's like a human, it's like us, if we are exposed to the comforts of life and only comforts, which means we're always happy, we're always comfortable, we're always well fed with food. And eating is also good, but if we are always comfortable in life and we don't suffer, then we don't bloom because we need both in life. We need both rain and sunshine because they're equally good. And you know what comes up when rain and sunshine are together? It's a rainbow, right? So anyone who cannot appreciate this is of little substance. It's essential to open the eyes of the soul. Okay. So basically, some suffering and happiness are both good. We need both in life, right? We need not run away from suffering because this is forming us to become better persons. This helps us understand the bigger picture. So, so then when we suffer, it would be best to take closely at our suffering, analyze our suffering, because this actually helps us become better persons. If it's always easy and comfy, like I said earlier, we will not grow, right? We have to ask ourselves, is it really as bad as they are, the problems we have? And maybe later on, we find out that it's not so bad after all. So we can even get some perspective from another person so we can try to see the suffering of other people in the world. Just check Skype. Oh, a snake plant. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, these plants kind of sound like they are sensitive, like, and they need a lot of maintenance, right? So yeah, similar to the hothouse flowers. So we need to get some perspective. We can do this if you have a friend, or if you want a counselor, a professional, get perspective from them so they can help you try to see the suffering of other people in the world. Because when we learn about other people's suffering, we won't feel alone. It helps us realize that, oh, I am not alone with my battles. Everyone is suffering, and it will lead us to show kindness and or compassion. So if you continue listening to Buddhism, you'll see yourself happier, empowered, motivated, and more mindful. It will also help our mind see the reality of life so that when the waves of change comes, we are still shocked, of course, it's normal, but we are more ready and resilient to adapt to it. So that's all for tonight. I hope you guys find something really amazing on this talk. It's really, for me, empowering, especially during these tough times. So, again, if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel paralyzed at the moment because of your problems in life, because of your suffering, remember to take action and plant the good seeds. Because if you dwell too much on being paralyzed, if you dwell too much on overthinking, it will not do anything good. It will just make you even more paralyzed. So as you know, as Nike's slogan says, just do it. It holds true, just do it as long as it's a good deed or you're planting good seeds, right? And I'd like to take this opportunity to also remind everyone, if you're free on Sunday this week, I will host a lecture on the basics of Buddhism at 8:30 p.m. So if you have friends or family you would like to invite, um, who you think are going to be interested in listening, then definitely please invite them. So we're so happy to have you here, guys. Good evening, and again, this is member-supported Pure Land Buddhism Center of the Philippines. If you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to post on Skype. If you want to share some plants that you have, then great. What are some plants that are okay to put indoors? Because I want to have some like aloe vera, for example. I want to brighten my room too. So yeah, I'm awesome, guys. Amazing. Thanks for being here. See you next time.